Morning, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Sales Manager Academy podcast. As always, I'm your host, Omar. And today, like every episode, right, we talk about anything having to do with leadership in a boutique retail setting. So think wireless retail, think AV, think compliance sales, things that are not your normal big box retail. Okay. Oftentimes, your product isn't the actual physical product you're selling, but more so the services that come along with the product. The product's essentially something that you can use, but your main product that you offer, your main offering, is more so the services that come with it. So it's a little bit more nuanced than what you see like in a big box retail company. Now, what we're talking about today is something obviously that's been on the minds of a lot of people. It's how to prepare for things. And as a leader, one of the things that you need to understand is that you need to stop hoping for the best and start preparing for the worst. A lot of you guys are running right now on hope, and you're hoping that things are going to turn out well. And hope is your strategy. Hope is what you're banking on. But here's the thing, if you're a leader that's hoping on things to become better and you're not preparing for it, you're not a leader, you're just gambling. Okay. You're winging things. And that's what you don't want to do as a leader, especially in times when things are going to get tougher. Product is going to be harder to come by, prices are going to go up. I get it. AV appliances, the margins are there to be able to eat up some of the cost. But the other thing that you need to realize is that the organization, the company also relies on those margins to ensure the company moves forward. So that's what you have to realize, because that also means compensation is going to change. If the companies have to eat up the cost for you and your salespeople, that means your compensation is going to drastically change. So the choices are prices go up and you still make about the same on the product you sell, but obviously volume is going to go down because you're not selling as much, or your company tries to keep things as is, right, on the price, but they're going to change how your compensation is paid out, or worse, because there's less liquidity going around. They're going to keep it the same. They're going to cut staffing budget and potentially also cut commission play. So that's obviously like a worst case scenario, but that's what you need to realize. And those are the kind of conversations that, hey, we don't know what's going on. Don't tell your people, hey, this is what I think is going to happen. No, focus on what you can prepare for. What you can prepare for is coaching, training, and developing. That is what you can compare or prepare for. Don't go about talking about, potentially what could happen on pay plan changes, on because you're hoping that maybe something will happen and this is the case that will be, and you're not doing anything. Prepare your people the best way possible, which is through training, through developing, through teaching them different methods that they haven't used or rarely use currently to be able to maximize what they potentially can do. And that's what you want to do. Because it also helps do a few different things that a lot of people don't realize is it also gets your mind out of the worry of what's going on, right? Because you're physically taking action on doing something. So that at least helps to alleviate it. And trust me, if you don't have to go through and constantly think about bad news, it makes life a little bit easier to go through. And hey, you're teaching somebody something new. And when you're doing that, you are also learning and developing new skills yourself. So enough with, hoping things are going to turn out great. Prepare for the worst possible outcome. Okay. Now, the other thing too that you need to realize as a leader is that when you're banking on hope instead of preparing for things, you're becoming more of a reactive leader and your teams are becoming more reactive than proactive. What's the difference? When you're being proactive, you can head off changes and you can get ahead of things without needing to pivot a lot or make a lot of changes. When you're reactive, that's when you're doing a lot of fire drills. That's when you're doing a lot of, blasting messages, phone calls. Hey, what's going on with the numbers? What's going on? Blah, 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 blah. And when you, as an executive leader, are getting bombarded by your upper leadership, that's what you want to avoid. That's the last thing we want. We don't want to go through that because it's just annoying, right? Everybody hates it. Your executive teams hate it. Your leadership hates it. It's annoying all the way around. but nobody does the most basic thing to ensure that doesn't happen. And what's the most basic thing that we can do with that? Train, develop, coach. And remember, coaching is not write ups, coachings are not pips. If your idea of a fucking coaching session is to hand out performance improvement plans, walk out the fucking door because you're not a leader. That's what it is. You don't know how to properly coach and train people. Because pips, when you use them in that respect, you're trying to, well, in case things don't work out, I'm just going to fire this individual, said I coached them up. No, you didn't coach them up. You didn't try to develop them. Do what you're supposed to as a leader, as a coach, train, develop, and hire somebody, right? You're hiring them for a reason. Train, develop, and coach them. You're not hiring somebody to fire them. That's not the point. That's just a waste of everybody's time. It's a waste of the company's resources. It's a waste of your time as a leader. It's a waste for that employee as well, for their time and effort of putting in through the interview process, the hiring process, and then actually coming on board only to not be trained and developed. Do everybody a favor, become a leader, train, develop your people, coach them. A little bit of time coaching goes a very long way in how your people develop and how they perform. And more so now than ever, that is very important because that's the last thing you want to do is to lose people, especially in this type of environment. Because when you lose people in this type of environment, chances are you will not be backfilled. Those positions will be cut off. Hiring freezes. We don't know what things are going to be like. We want to see, so we'll wait a few months and then we'll wait a few months and then we'll see. And that's kind of what we want to avoid. So we don't want to bank on hope. We want to be proactive, right? Because proactive leaders use structured tools to be able to actually do not just coaching sessions, but just to prepare your team period, right? Um, on a daily scenario, on a monthly scenario, because you can get them to visualize how things could be so that they can start prepping for it and be able to actually come out on top. So when we're talking about, coaching sessions, their interactions with customers, how does that look like? How can we be more proactive with how we approach certain situations? I remember, guys, visualizations, when you do it properly in a coaching session, that is a form of role playing. It's not the traditional role play that everybody hates where, you're the seller, I'm the buyer, sell me something. No, it's actually walking them through an actual interaction that they had and what could have been different or what was good about that interaction. The brain, the mind cannot differentiate between what you physically do and what you visualize. To your mind, it is the exact same thing. So when you do visualization practices and coaching sessions, it's as though you're actually doing it in real life, like you're actually interacting with customers. That is the way your brain is seeing it. So that's the importance of coaching because you're getting more reps in. And the more you practice, the more consistent you get with certain approaches, the easier it is to pull it up and do it again in the future. And it becomes second nature. It just becomes easier for everybody. It's the easiest thing to do. It's what is the smallest amount of effort that you can actually put in when it comes to coaching. But it's the most difficult thing for a lot of people to do because of how easy it is. Now, with the coaching style that I've used, that I've developed over the years, it's about actual practice and taking action. It is not theory, it is not fluff, it is what we use to become better at what we do. It's that simple. It doesn't have to be super crazy. Remember, any idiot can make anything difficult. Make things easy, and you'll see how faster people will pick it up. And that's what you want to do. And when you start preparing more, you stop taking the guesswork away, right? You're not having to worry about running drills and that kind of stuff, fire drills, trying to play catch up at the end of the month, mid-month. You don't have to worry about any of that because you have consistency coming across. So when there are times that we may go through where, numbers aren't, up to par, then we know for sure there is something wrong. And that's when we go in to actually try to fix situations. But don't try to fix something when it isn't broken, and don't act like your fix, if it's a fire drill, is a solution to something that's broken. Because that's akin to being on a boat that's got a shit ton of holes and you're just trying to plug it up with scotch tape. Shit's not going to work. It's not going to work and it's not going to hold, right? Now, preparation means consistent coaching, not just crisis management, right? Daily coaching avoids emergencies, avoids fire drills. It avoids you as an executive leader, right? As a district or regional, having to go in, pull in a bunch of employees from other locations to go to this location to try to fix it, or it avoids you spending so much time on the sales floor. Now, I get it. Some of your people are going to be like, hey, but you never sell on the floor, right? You just don't remember. No, it's me as a leader. I can sell. I'm going to help, right, when it's needed, but I also don't want to take away from you and your team's experience. It's not my job to sell for you. I'm here to coach and develop and train you because you guys can perform a lot more than what I can do because there's more of you than there are of me. So I'm here to support and develop you because you guys are the heroes for the organization. The organization cannot run and operate properly without the efforts of the frontline employees. So it's our job as leaders to make sure you are as successful as possible and have everything that you need to become successful. Because your success is my success. I'm not worried about how much I make. I'm worried about how much you make. Because the more you make, I know I'm going to be fine. So my goal is to make sure you make as much as possible. Because that's what I get paid on. That's how I get my bonuses. Don't be afraid of talking about that. Listen, nobody's a fucking idiot. Everybody knows that as you go up in different positions, you likely make more. Okay? Everybody knows that. There are going to be certain situations where your sellers, right, or certain managers below you actually make more than you as a leader. And there is nothing wrong with that. That is perfectly fine. That's where you want to get to. Don't shy away from those conversations. Let them know, like, hey, I understand. My goal is to make sure you're as successful as possible. At this level of leadership, our goals are slightly different, right? If I got absolutely nothing to do, nothing on my plate, in those rare instances, hey, maybe I'll get on the floor and compete with you a little bit. But at this point, the goal is to train and develop, and I got a bunch of new hires, or I'm doing a training session, or we're taking care of inventory, we're taking care of some admin stuff, we're working on this additional project for the organization. Your responsibilities become different. And when your team understands those responsibilities on your part, they understand the difference in roles. Now, when you also start planning and preparing for things, guys, and you're not hoping for things, you can plan for challenges that are going to be happening. I've said it before in a retail setting, right? Like what we've talked about, you're going through different retail holidays. It's not a month. This is the retail holiday we're prepping for. This is the retail sales event that we're doing. This is the focus that we're pushing on. That is what you're going from one event to the other event. And you can prepare for the challenges that are going to come from that, right? Depending on what time of the year it is, you know that certain products are going to sell more than others. So you can prepare and prep because obviously, just because that happens doesn't mean that the focus on other KPIs are going to go away. No. So all right, during this time of the year, this time of the month, these typical KPIs that we do well in tend to kind of flounder, right? They fall off a little bit because the focus is on this. So this is how we're going to make sure that the focus stays on this as well. So this doesn't come down. So we're not running fire drills on these. And then you can prepare, you can coach and train. And then you can do those coaching sessions with your leaders so that they can do it themselves at their locations. They're not worried about, okay, well, Omar's going to have to step in and do this for us. Or when's the next time Omar's going to be here so he can take care of this? No, they can take the initiative, get it done. Because obviously, your local leaders, your store leaders, their pay plans, their commission plan, their bonus plan is also structured on the performance of their team. So when their team is successful and they don't have to rely on you as a district or regional as often to make sure that happens, they are ecstatic because they can take care of it themselves and it doesn't take too much time off their plate. It is that easy. Preparation is key to success. Because remember, guys, your team doesn't rise to the occasion. It is very rare that your team will ever rise to the occasion. They fall back to the level of preparation. And if you prepare your team well enough, it will feel like they rose to the occasion. What they did though is they took a step back to, all right, this is what we're gonna, this is the basics that we're focusing on, this is how we're gonna do it. Boom. And they get to it, and it makes it feel like they rose to the occasion. You can't take an untrained team, throw them in the mix, and be like, okay, guys, figure it out, make the best of it, and expect them to actually be able to rise to the occasion when they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Coach, train, develop your people. That's simple, right? What was it again? Coaching, training, developing. Super, super easy. For those in the back, if you didn't hear, coach, train, develop. That easy. And that's what you want to focus on. Okay. Because true leadership isn't really defined by how you perform when things go smoothly. It's measured by how your team handles adversity, handles times that are not smooth, handles times that are difficult. And that is what we're heading into. That is what we're going into. So this is going to be a true test and testament of your leadership. Are you going to make it feel like you rose to the occasion, or are you going to flounder? That's the big question. And if you're worried about it, one, even if you're prepared, you're always going to be worried, but you're not as worried because you at least know you've done everything you can on your part to help your team perform, and all they have to do is execute. And there's always going to be certain things that are going to be outside of our control, outside of our purview. Once again, also like one of the other sayings goes, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face. And then the plan goes to shit. When the plan goes to shit, that's when you go to your level of preparedness, your level of training. And that's what you want to get to. And that's what you want your team to get to is a level of preparedness that always makes it feel like they're rising to the occasion. All they're doing is falling back to their training, and their training makes it look like they're fucking rock stars, making the best of the situations. Now, that's the simple thing. Don't worry about hoping for the best. Prepare for the worst. Hope, yeah, you can hope for the best all you want, but that should not be your training. That should not be the way that you mentor and guide people. Expect the worst. All right, guys, what's the worst that can happen? We got no more product coming in and we got nothing to sell. What the fuck do we do? There's always going to be something that can be offered. There's always something that can be done. When you prepare for the potentially worst things that could happen, you can at least get ahead of it. No traffic coming in the door? Cool. Do we have a list of clients that we can reach back out to? See how things are going. See if they have any questions. See if they have anything that's popped up that they need assistance with. There's always something that we can do to prepare to ensure that the worst is not as worse. And typically, when things do happen and we've prepared and we have prepared for the worst doesn't come because we've been prepared and we fall back to our level of training, which makes us look like we rose to the occasion and are rock stars. And if you're wondering, Omar, how the hell, I don't know where to start. How do I start on a simple fix to my coaching, on a simple methodology to coaching? Take a look at the link in the bio, take a look at the link in the description, grab that 15-minute coaching framework, use it. It is essentially a small course in psychology that's wrapped up in a one sheet form that'll help you train, develop, and coach your people in a way that you didn't think was possible before. It's there. Grab it. Now, guys, uh, today's episode's a little bit different, right? Because I actually have to head over to my kid's school and take care of some stuff over there. Nothing bad, just end of the year reviews kind of situation. Uh, so I'll leave it there for today. As always, I want to say thank you for stepping into another episode here at Sales Manager Academy podcast. I'm your host, Omar, and I'll catch you on the next one.